Daisoba, thank you for joining us. Here are the weekly highlights of Arakan. Fighting escalates near Sittwe as Arakan Army attacks regime positions. Drug offences in Arakan State punishable by 10 years to death penalties, according to AA authorities. 2 civilians injured in Junta drone strike on Sanae town. Nearly 10,000 IDPs in Kyaukphyu urgently need shelter as monsoon season approaches. Arakan Army releases 152 Junta prisoners of war family members in Minbya. Education campaign launched to support IDP children in Arakan State. Fighting has continued across Arakan State for more than 2 years as the Arakan Army, AA, presses its offensives. From March 23rd to 29th of 2026, we'll be bringing you key developments of Arakan. Fighting escalates near Sittwe as Arakan Army attacks regime positions. Clashes between the Myanmar military and the Arakan Army near the Arakan State capital, Sittwe, have intensified in recent days, with the regime reportedly providing aerial and artillery support. On March 27th, Armed Forces Day, the Arakan Army attacked the regime's regional command headquarters and nearby outposts with heavy weapons, while the regime responded with airstrikes on the border areas between Bonajuen and Rathedang townships. The regime reportedly used jet fighters and Y-12 aircraft to attack Mazel Island in Rathedang Township, as well as areas near Minchang Bridge in Sittwe Township. Amid the intensified fighting, a large number of security personnel have been deployed at exits from Sittwe and at junta-controlled offices. Residents also said that the regime has tightened security in the town and is conducting frequent overnight guest list checks. Since early 2025, clashes around Sittwe have fluctuated between periods of escalation and temporary lulls. Drug offences in Arakan State punishable by 10 years to death penalty, according to AA authorities. The Department of Law Enforcement and Public Security, DLEPS, under the Arakan Army, has announced that individuals involved in the transportation, sale, or distribution of illegal drugs in Arakan State will face penalties ranging from minimal of 10 years in prison to the death penalty. According to DLEPS, under Section 19A of the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Law, the possession of sale, transportation, transmission, or transfer of such substances is strictly prohibited. Those found guilty under this section face a minimum of 10 years imprisonment up to an unlimited prison term. Furthermore, under Section 20A, any individual convicted of manufacturing, distributing, or selling narcotic drugs or psychotropic substances shall be sentenced to a minimum of 15 years to life imprisonment or the death penalty. However, some critics pointed to challenges such as bribery in drug distribution and alleged involvement by some personnel within the United League of Arakan. Reflecting its commitment to internal discipline, an Arakan Army statement on August 30th of 2025 said that 11 distributors, including 7 DLEPS members, were arrested in Bonajuen Township. DLEPS has urged the public to cooperate as a national duty by providing timely information, participating in drug awareness efforts, preventing cultivation and use, and protecting youth from the dangers of narcotics. 2 civilians injured in junta drone strike on Sanae town. 2 civilians were reportedly injured after the military regime carried out a drone strike on Sanae town in Kyaukphyu Township, Arakan State, shortly after 12 p.m. on March 23rd. According to local residents, the drone dropped 4 bombs near the town's market, damaging nearby homes and shop fronts. The attacks follow a similar incident on March 8, 2024, when a drone launched from the junta's Damoji naval base targeted the Sanae market and surrounding area, killing 1 woman and injuring 3 others. Tensions remain high in Kyaukphyu Township as clashes continue between the Myanmar military and Arakan Army. The Myanmar military has frequently carried out airstrikes and naval artillery attacks on civilian areas, including those under Arakan Army control, contributing to a rise in civilian casualties. According to data compiled by DMG, drone strikes in Kyaukphyu Township have intensified, with at least 30 civilians killed or injured between March 2025 and March 2026. Nearly 10,000 IDPs in Kyaukphyu urgently need shelter as monsoon season approaches. Approximately 10,000 internally displaced persons fleeing conflict in Kyaukphyu Township, Arakan State, are in desperate need of secure shelter. Aid workers report that these IDPs are currently living in forests and under trees without proper protection from the elements. The Xinjiang Youth Philanthropic Group, which provides aid to the displaced, emphasized the urgency of securing roofing and shelter materials before the rainy season begins. The IDPs are also struggling with extreme summer temperature, as well as acute shortages of food and medicine. Over the past year of fighting in Kyaukphyu, nearly 60,000 residents from more than 100 villages have been forced to flee their homes, while about 30,000 people have found temporary refuge in safer areas of Kyaukphyu and Remy townships. At least 10,000 remain without any formal shelter. Assistance is being provided by social organizations and the Humanitarian Development Coordination Office (HDCO) of the United League of Arakan. However, the scale of the need is so vast that aid groups are unable to reach everyone effectively. Displacement in Kyaukphyu began as early as 2024 due to military regime offenses, arbitrary arrests, and the planting of landmines near residential areas. The number of IDPs surged further after February 20th, 2025, when the military began targeting civilian villages located more than 10 miles away from active combat zones. Arakan Army releases 152 Junta prisoners of war family members in Myanmar. The Arakan Army has released 152 Junta prisoners of war and their family members captured during the battle for control of Myanmar, making the third round of releases by the ethnic armed group. The release ceremony was held on March 10th, during which 44 men, 54 women, and 54 children were freed. At the event, local officials from the United League of Arakan formally handed over the individuals to their respective families, who were required to sign acknowledgement forms confirming the safe return of their loved ones. This is the third release of captives linked to the Myanmar conflict. Previous releases included 170 individuals in April 2025 and 225 others in May 2025. The Arakan Army seized full control of Myanmar from the military regime on February 6, 2024. Education campaign launched to support IDP children in Arakan State. The Arakan Students' Union, ASU, has launched an education support campaign for internally displaced person children in Arakan State who are currently deprived of access to schooling. The campaign titled Future Waves is running from March 22nd to April 22nd and aims to raise 20 million kyats to provide educational assistance. As conflict continues in Arakan State, the number of displaced people is rising, leaving many children in urgent need of education support. With a growing number of IDP students, there's a severe shortage of school buildings and teaching materials. In Kyaukphyu Township, where fighting continues, many displaced children remain unable to attend temporary schools set up by humanitarian groups. Ongoing airstrike risks across Arakan State have also disrupted education, forcing schools to operate irregularly and causing many students to drop out or suspend their studies. Some youths have had to abandon education entirely to support their families amid economic hardship. Describing education as a bloodline for rebuilding Arakan State, the ASU has called for broader public support to assist the next generation. Since 2024, the Department for Education under the United League of Arakan has been operating mobile schools to maintain access to education. However, due to the threat of airstrikes, these classrooms are frequently relocated for safety. This was a selection of weekly highlights from Arakan. This program is presented every Tuesday, so please stay tuned. May all people of Arakan and the world stay healthy and safe.